Drastic. I think this must be my 8th or 9th Drastic. I love coming here. Stoked to be with you. I live in Blacktown, New South Wales. Everyone say Blacktown. It's a great part of Sydney. I love it. I lead the youth ministry at Castle Hill Community Church. Been there for nearly 5 years. We're having a great time there. Got a great team, great bunch of young people here this year. But look around. What a crew here this year, hey. It's fantastic to be here at Drastic. And can we just put our hands together for Alistair and Michelle, our camp directors. They're doing a fantastic job. We love you guys. Doing a top job. Camp is rocking. It was Thursday, 5 a.m. on the 25th of September, just a few days ago. My wife and I hate telling this story. Straight into it. You guys ready? We're going there. My wife and I had our bags packed and we're taking our little baby girl to hospital. Everyone go, oh. It was sad. She's been a bit sick lately. She's had the flu and her little baby lungs, they just can't get the oxygen she needs. So we had to take her into hospital again. We'd already been in there 3 nights, about a fortnight ago. And she's in a hospital, just getting supervised. She is okay, but she's just making sure she gets plenty of oxygen, so I had a few little masks on her and that sort of thing. And I tell you what, hospitals, they're not my favourite place. Have you ever been to hospital? Who's been to hospital before? Oh, wow, look at you guys. We're a sick crew, hey? Jokes. So, at hospital, I'm a dad. It just comes naturally now. You'll know when you get there, dads, you'll know. At hospital, there's a few weird things I notice. First thing is, the smell. Some of you know, good. It's not as bad as like the guys' toilets at school was, but it's definitely weird. Like, it's just too clean. A little too perfect. It's not quite right. Another weird thing I notice is some of the kind of people that work there, particularly cleaners, they just have the slowest walks. I saw these 3 people working there, hardly working, I should say, not working out. And they were carrying these like plastic bags with small plastic bags in them, like they were really heavy, and they were dragging them on the ground. It's the weirdest thing. And they're like walking like this fast. And there's 3 people just chatting and working slowly. Hospitals, they're funny, they're weird. The other thing I noticed about hospitals, it's a really good place to actually talk to people. Have you ever found that? You've had a really good conversation in hospital? It's one of those things that my wife and I, we spent a lot of time in there. It's actually really nice just chatting with my wife heaps. We met some great nurses, we met some great doctors, we had a laugh with a bunch of people, with our little baby girl. Once she got better, man, she was just the best. She was so funny in hospital. Like, she was just giggling, laughing. All the nurses were just having an absolute ball with them. A little 10-month-old baby girl, Olivia, she is gorgeous. And she was drawing a crowd. It was so cute. She's lovely. But today, one of the things I noticed about when you're in hospital, I'm going to tell you guys a few stories. While I was in hospital, I spent a lot of time on Facebook. I have to admit, it was actually really good. I was so bored in hospital, sitting there, waiting. So I spent a lot of time on Facebook. I saw a lot of what my friends have been up to. One of my old buddies from high school, he's now a wrestler in Australia, like doing like WWE, but the Australian version. He's into that, so he's been doing a big training camp over in the US, and there's some funny things going on in the world when your best mates become wrestlers. What the heck? What's going on there? But on Facebook, I don't know, does your newsfeed at the moment just seem to get heaps of videos? I don't know, it's kind of cool. There's some funny ones, some dumb ones, some silly ones. But I spent a lot of time in hospital watching some just silly and stupid videos. Now, it made me think of when I was a young guy. One of the things I wish I'd caught on camera, one of the dumb things I did, I loved riding bikes when I was a little kid. Now, I had my first bike, which was a little green bike with yellow handlebars, and it was one of those bikes that to brake, you just did the back pedal and you could do the skids and stuff. But I got a new bike. I got a mountain bike. It was a bit flash and fancy. It had 15 gears. Ooh. It had handbrakes. So instead of slamming on the brakes, which the wheels just now, the pedals would go around backwards, you had to brake with your hands. But I loved riding, and part of why I loved riding a bike was because every day after school, I'd go down to my local kind of takeaway shop and buy my favourite ice cream, the Buffalo Bill. This is the ultimate ice cream. Just bear with me for a moment. This is the ultimate ice cream because it is a combo of things. And combos are so good, like peanut butter and honey sandwiches. Oh, thank goodness. Bacon and eggs. Oh, it's good. But my favourite ice cream, the Buffalo Bill, has ice cream and bubble gum. As a 10-year-old, life's just perfect when you've got a Buffalo Bill. But one of the best parts of riding to get my ice cream was the trip home. Now, my house was at the bottom of the hill. At the top of the hill, I would just, as soon as I turned that last corner, I'll just be slamming on those pedals, left, right, just getting as much speed as possible. And then when I was little, on my first bike, I just slammed on the brake on that last kind of person's front lawn before mine, slammed on the brakes, did this huge skid, leave this big trail. It was so much fun. But now I've got my bigger bike, I'm just adjusting to it. And I round the corner and I start to pedal and I look down to see what gear I'm in. And when I look up, the telegraph pole is directly in front of my head. About 5 meters in front of my head. Probably got about half a second, which is heaps of time when you're riding a bike. Got half a second. Now, out of all the options, do you know what I did? I put my head down. Oh my gosh. I could have turned to the left. I could have turned to the right. I could have used my back brakes and my front brakes. Not just my front brakes, that would have been bad. But it's pretty bad what happens, right? I look up, I see the telegraph pole. I put my head back down. And sure enough, the front wheel goes. Now, I haven't got heaps of speed, but I kind of turned the corner knowing that I'm going to try and get speed going down the hill so I can land the biggest skid you've ever seen. So I turn the corner pretty fast. I start pedaling. I look down. I look up. And I look down. And the front wheel hits the telegraph pole, which means I go flying forward and my helmet just goes thunk into the telegraph pole. And it's one of those moments when you feel every vertebra in your back kind of go tink, 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 tink. I hit it and flop onto the ground. I'm a mess. I'm okay, but I'm a mess. Oh my gosh, what was I doing? Out of all the options, I just put my head down. It was a good crash. Now, I want to talk to you today about emptiness. In that story, my head was empty. Clearly, what kind of a decision was that? I was so stupid. When I was in hospital, my day was just, what am I going to do? I'll just look for something on Facebook. And even while I was considering maybe even the potential loss of my little girl, that thought of emptiness in my heart, oh my gosh. I've never experienced that kind of fear or darkness before. It's so scary. I wonder if you've experienced emptiness. I wonder if you've had a moment where in your life you felt a bit empty or completely empty. I wonder maybe what types of emptiness you've experienced. Maybe you've experienced an empty wallet. Anyone experienced an empty wallet before? A few of us, yeah, a few of us, not just me. Maybe you've had an empty inbox. Your emails, your Facebook account, empty. Oh. Maybe you've had just that hollow kind of, because empty can mean like hollow, can mean like a vacuum, it can mean something that's really bare. So we can have like this really kind of hollow self-confidence where you're like, I think I'm not, if anyone even asks or touches this, it's going to fall apart. I mean, you can have that kind of emptiness in your confidence. You can have emptiness in your social life. You just don't feel like you've got anyone that you connect with. You don't feel like you've got any mates that you can call up or anyone that calls you. You can have empty dreams, empty kind of purpose in life. Many of us have probably had a moment where our mind has been completely vacant, like when I was riding my bike. Our teachers would probably all say we've had a moment like that, where we've just had, what's going on up there? Maybe you felt numb and empty in your emotions, disconnected. And probably worst of all, I reckon, maybe you've had moments, and I wonder if we've all had moments like this, where we felt disconnected and empty in our relationship with God. I wonder if you've had that moment. So this morning, we're going to get into God's Word to actually discover how to deal with emptiness. There's a couple of stories I want to share from God's Word. But to get the most out of it, I need you guys to be involved. I want you to do 3 things. The first thing is I want you to make the noise, ooh. It's like something almost a bit negative's happened, like something dramatic. Sort of like if you're walking and you saw a snake on the path and you go, ooh. So everyone, 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Got it, perfect. Okay, the next one is the kind of cute one. It's like 2 little pigeons sitting up on a branch and we all go, 1, 2, 3. And the final one, it's like if you and your friend are sitting down having hot chips and your friend picked up a hot chip, the best hot chip, and then this kookaburra comes across, takes it, and you go, whoa. So everyone, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it sounds beautiful. Excellent. So as we read the stories, if you ever feel it's appropriate, one of those moments, the first one was, and then we've got, and then we've got, so we've got to practice those. We'll use them in the stories. The first story about emptiness starts, we've got to introduce Jesus, so because he's the main man in these stories today. Jesus, God who created the heavens and the earth, sent his son, Jesus, fully God, fully man, as a little baby, just tiny, good guys, well done, well done. As a tiny little baby, into the world, born in Bethlehem, raised in Nazareth, and then he began his building apprenticeship. Then he went and spoke to his careers advisor at the age of 30, and God, the ultimate careers advisor, said to him, you actually need to now go and begin a world-saving kind of work, a ministry where you serve everyone in the whole world. And so Jesus changed kind of careers at the age of 30, and he began organising and gathering these ordinary disciples. Man, these guys were shockers, just like you and me. But they did a great job, these 12, but that's a different story. But Jesus began his 3 years kind of ministry. He went around teaching God's truth to people. He went around healing and doing miracles, showing that he had power over nature, over demons, over sickness. And just before he kind of heads to Jerusalem for the cross, he actually encounters this one guy. Now this guy, his name is Zacchaeus. And this guy named Zacchaeus, you can read about this in Luke 19. He actually is a guy that's really wealthy, but he also is a bit dodgy. Right? He's not like Robin Hood, really good, steal from the rich to give to the poor. This guy's dodgy. He steals from the poor, he steals from the rich, and keeps it all for himself. Now you might go, oh, that's really smart, actually. How do I do it? No. Yeah, anyway. So Zacchaeus, he's a short guy though. He's really short. Now it's like Jesus was coming into town. It's like Jesus was going to walk across the front of, like, down the bottom of the stage here and then go up and around and out the door. And so Zacchaeus is kind of going, man, I would love to actually see Jesus. Last time when a prophet, a wise person came, I missed him. Oh, I didn't catch him. Oh, this time I need to do something different because I couldn't get over the crowd. No, I know what that's like. I'm a bit shy. Don't laugh though. Don't make any jokes. Don't even go, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. No. So Zacchaeus is a short guy, so he wants to see God. So this is his plan, right? This is what he does. He goes and he finds a tree. Sorry guys, I didn't realise it was going to be this packed. But this is what happens. You can't see me right now. Well, some of you can. But I'm over here. And so Zacchaeus is climbing a tree. And like all good tree climbing, he has a stack. And he finds a spot. Oh, well, hey, there you guys. Hi guys. So Zacchaeus, he finds a spot where he can actually see Jesus. And he can, here he comes, here he comes. Oh, he's in the door. Oh man, I hope I get to see him. Oh, I wonder what he's going to do today. I wonder if he'll heal anyone. I wonder if he'll say anything really amazing. Oh, this will be so good. What is this tree? This is a silly little tree. Look at it, it's only got 2 leaves. Oh, Jesus is coming. Oh, stay focused. Here he comes. Here he is. Yeah, I'm Zacchaeus. You what? You what? You want to come over for lunch? Oh. To my house? Oh. But yeah, I'd love to have you over, Jesus. Oh. I'll come right down. Let's go. I live up that way. Just past the army barracks little sign up there, just on the right. And so Zacchaeus, maybe. Zacchaeus gets down from the tree and he goes and spends lunch with Jesus. I found it really uncomfortable spotting that tree. Do you know that when you climb trees and you're like, this is all good, and you're like 3 seconds later, like, this is not all good. So uncomfortable. Anyway, some of those deep squats, hey, Cyril. Now, Jesus offers Zacchaeus a new opportunity. He sees him hiding. He says, I want to come over. I want your life to be different. So I reckon Zacchaeus would have had a really empty life. I think Zacchaeus, even though his wallet was full, and he would have had some buddies that he did these dodgy dealings with, I reckon he probably would have felt pretty empty. I reckon he would have been disliked by all the different people around him. And this moment when Jesus sees him, right where he is, right how he is, and just wants to hang out with him, wants to eat food with him. Lamb chops. No, fish and chips, I reckon, that day. Jesus wants to go over and spend time with Zacchaeus. Now, we know that Zacchaeus has this life-transforming encounter. How do we know that? In the story, actually, Zacchaeus does something really amazing. He recognizes money had been controlling his life. The desire for more. It was his whole job. It was just about getting more and more money. And so he does something really generous. He pays back everyone that he's done wrong. And not just like, oh, you gave me $5, here's your $5 back. He gives them like 4 times as much back. He's excessively and abundantly generous. And do you know why? Because that's what God was like with him. Jesus didn't just look up at Zacchaeus and go, just keep walking. Jesus didn't just look up at Zacchaeus and go, just didn't do the eyebrows, like, you know, he did the eyebrows, go. He did more than that. He knew him by name and called to him, Zacchaeus, I'm coming over. I want to hang out with you. I don't just have to love you, I like you. If it was you or me, we'd be going, Jesus likes me. This is the best. So Zacchaeus, he does something really generous. He gives a whole stack of his money away because he's transformed on the inside. Now, quick tip. Today, it's still one of the really kind of, I guess you could call it an indicator of how you're going in your faith. So if you're a Christian here today, let me just quickly chat to people who are Christians. This is something that you can be doing as a regular thing, even when you don't think you have much money. You can be using your money in a way that honours and glorifies God. 2 quick things you can do. One is you can be giving to your local church, supporting what they're doing, partnering with them even. And you can make a difference by what you do with your finance. The other thing is with your money, which is kind of a funny thing, because I actually think, personally, I think all money belongs to God. All money belongs to God. We just get to take care of it for a few moments while we're here. So what we do say we give a bit of our money to the church, do we just get to do whatever we want with the rest of it? The idea is that we actually use everything we have for God. Some will give to maybe the church, some will give to the Safe Water in September kind of challenge, some will give to a poor person down the street, some will give to overseas aid, some will give to us, our schoolmates, because we just want to be generous, because God has been generous with us. Amen? Amen. Let's keep moving. Just before Jesus walks and sees Zacchaeus and eats with him and completely changes his life, Jesus tells another story that I just want to quickly tell. And this story is about an impatient young man. Any impatient young men here like me? There's a few of us in the room. Now this young guy, he has a shocker. He has a mind snap, but he thought it was a really good idea. I don't know if you've had one of these. And he has this idea that, hey, Dad's pretty rich. When Dad dies, I'm going to get like half the money because I've got an older brother, so he'll get half and I'll get half. It'd be great if Dad died. That sounds terrible. What I'll do is I'll just ask for the money now and just Dad can keep living. That's not so bad. Yeah, right. But he goes to his dad and says, Dad, I want half of the money now. Like now. Like, go and get it now. And what he's saying to his dad is, you're dead to me. I'm going off to find an exciting wild life. And so this young man takes... Oh, it's dodgy what he does. That's better. The impatient son spends all his dad's hard-earned money. He goes off. He buys friends. He buys lovers. Ooh, dodgy. And he buys beer and he buys Bacardis. He buys cars and he buys all sorts of things. And he's just cars. Yeah, he bought friends on Facebook and he bought cars. This is just only 2000. I'm joking. This is just modern day's version of it. So this young man is looking for life to the full, a wild life. But what he actually finds is that when the money runs out, all his friends leave him. When his dad's money runs out, all his lovers leave him. The booze runs out, and shock, horror, he has to get a job. Oh my gosh, drama. this poor guy. So he has to get a job because he realises that the partying scene which he was involved in, it was empty. And more than just the party scene being empty, he realises that he was empty. And so this young man, like, I love that Jesus tells this story, because Jesus actually could see that the party scene even 2,000 years ago, when they were sitting on dusty rocks, knocking back dodgy wine from their own dad's vineyard, like the party scene that would have existed back then, it's still as empty as it is today. Now, I've not kind of dove into the party scene myself. I've had a number of my really good mates who've just thrown themselves into this wild kind of life of alcohol, of any kind of intimacy. It wasn't just about sex, it was about hooking up with someone, having a kiss, having this, that. And I tell you what, it's so sad seeing the emptiness. And it's like if you had a cup and you cut the bottom of the cup out and you're just pouring things into it, hoping it will fill it up. Pouring things, hoping it will fill it up. But this poor cup's broken. It can't hold anything. So this story Jesus tells is about the young son. And the young son actually, when he's working, he comes to his senses. And he realises, I could be back with my dad as a worker. Those guys have heaps better wages and working conditions than where I am right now. And so he heads back to his dad. And he kind of just hopes to come back in as like an employee. But you know what the dad does? The dad fully welcomes him back. Not just as a dodgy employee, but he welcomes him back as an esteemed son. And Jesus is telling this story because it actually reveals some things. It reveals some things about what our Father in heaven is like. But the story actually doesn't end there. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a moment. But there's just three things that really stand out about what the wild kind of life can look like if you go pursuing kind of the world's version of what the wild life looks like. And it's this. The first thing is, and if you've got your little notepads here and you want to take some notes, it is a good thing to write down. The first thing we can get focused in that the world offers as a wild life is an obsession with appearance. Now this can be the physical appearance, so our body image, how big our guns are, or how little our appearance. We can get obsessed with this. And the media wants us to be so focused on that. Saying that you have a great life if you just look like you're having a great life. If you just look beautiful. If you just look strong. It's also the appearance kind of, not just in our physical, but in our social kind of setting. Where you are on the pecking order of life. Which crowd are you in? Where do you stand in that sort of social spectrum? And the world would just say it's really important that you appear like you're in the best group. But that's where you'll have a great life. I mean, it's also in our online and our offline worlds, if you know what I mean. The appearance. We just get so focused on making sure the selfie just looks just right. I'll take another one and another one. I just want to get rid of that extra little third chin that's dead. No, but you know what I mean? Like, we just get focused on our appearance in an online world and in an offline world. And this is just one of the things that leads to emptiness. The second thing is it's about accumulating 5 and you go, ooh, in your body you kind of go, this feels so good, I like being right. And so what you do is you think of the next thing that will get you that next good feeling. So you're walking along and you see on the Facebook kind of thing how I spend a lot of time sliding my phone, looking through Facebook. I was looking for something. You know what the best part of kind of this part is? God is actually looking for you. We spend our time looking for other things to fill our life, and God is looking to fill your life. He wants to make your life the best life. Do we deserve it? Not at all. But that's what His grace does. His grace fills our life. Gives us the life we could never deserve. And it goes beyond our wildest dreams, as it says in Ephesians 3:20. And finally, when I was in hospital being a dad, I was patient, but at times I actually got over it. My wife, she was really strong. She stayed in hospital. I actually went home and slept in my own bed. A bit soft, I know. But you know what? God will never stop waiting for you. More than just waiting for you, He's actually pursuing you. He's walking like Jesus was walking closer to Zacchaeus. And he's hoping to see you. He's hoping to call you by name. And I wonder if you're ready to encounter God here at Drastic. Now God, in His grace, He wants to give you a wild life. And it's totally different to the wild life that the world offers. I wonder, are you going to be ready to receive it here at Drastic? Just think about that. What we're going to do now, guys, we're going to actually head to some small groups. This morning we've got an opportunity to ask questions, to chat. We've got an opportunity to read over those stories, to look up those Bible verses. You're actually probably going to spend most of the time, though, to be honest, just meeting the people in your groups, and I'm totally okay with that. This is the first small groups. You're going to be in the same gender, same age groups. Now, as we go to connect groups, small groups this morning, what we're going to do is all the leaders of small groups, in just a moment, I'm going to get you to come up to the front. I'm going to read through the names of the people in small groups, which will probably take 5-10 minutes. So everyone just take a deep breath. You'll be able to get some fresh air outside in a moment. We're going to read through the names of the groups. You can't change your group just because whatever, but there might be one or two people, I know of one definitely, who we've actually gone off the information that was given that you've put the wrong year group, so we want to make sure you're in the right year group. So what you're going to do is you're going to see Alistair and Michelle just up the back to make sure you get in the right year group. If you're called out and you're going, I'm in year 11 and they said in year 7, what do? You go up the back and you find Alistair and Michelle and they'll send you to the right age group. Everyone clear on what we're about to do? What we're going to do after small groups is we're going to meet in the hub at 11:30. So we've got a bit of time now for small groups where you're just going to meet the guys. If you get a chance, chat through the talk, but particularly just connecting with the people in your group today. So, can I get all the leaders and students, while they're coming up, make a big loud noise for your fantastic small group leaders. Give them a big cheer. Coming up, guys, coming up.